Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video we are reviewing the new Mortal Kombat movie. So if you guys haven't watched a review of mine, what I like to do is I like to break down some of the major points that happens in the movie. So this review contains major spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, highly suggest stopping this video, going back and watch the movie, come back, and then hear my thoughts about it. And yeah, just talk about the movie. So there's that. Uh, but if you guys don't want to do that, well, that sucks. That hurts my feelings. But anyways, so this movie was pretty much okay. I have a lot of major plot points and holes I could talk about that I didn't like in this movie. I thought the movie was okay, and if they would have announced a part two to the movie, which I'm pretty sure it is because they signed the guy who played Sub-Zero on for 4 future movies, so I'm pretty sure that they already have prequels and sequels and all that planned out. So it depends how this movie does. As far as like critics go, I haven't really seen the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's not doing too well. So I have a feeling this movie is going to be really decisive among people. So if you are looking for somebody to crap all over this movie, you're probably in the wrong channel. And of course, since most of you guys know I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan anyways. But I'm gonna do my best to keep my bias out of this and give you a different perspective from what I seen from the movie, because even though I'm a fan of Mortal Kombat, I could be highly critical of either the video games or the movie or action figures as well. So you're gonna hear my non-biased review about it. So there's that. So anyways, guys, so enough of that. Let's talk about the characters right quick. So starting off with the characters, and not in particular order from what they showed up on the screen. First of all, Liu Kang. What I thought about Liu Kang, I thought he was meh. Pretty interesting for them to do a Mortal Kombat movie and Liu Kang not being one of the main characters. So there's that as well. Kung Lao, I thought Kung Lao was okay. I feel like he could have been better. Really underused them in this movie as well. So there's that. Kano, I thought Kano was the best part of this whole movie. I think he was top tier above everybody else. Really cool backstory about him as well. And like I said, I feel like he was the best character in this whole movie. Jax, I thought Jax was pretty much okay. I really liked the Jax character as well. And yeah, I feel like I'll get to it later. Sonya, I thought Sonya was okay in the movie as well. Like I said, it's not the best, but I thought it was okay. Uh, Cole, uh, I thought Cole Young was pretty much boring at times, and I don't know, because he's a new character, so I'm over here trying to figure out like certain plot holes. I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure out like who could he be, because you know how sometimes they'll say, okay, he's a new character, and then he ends up being somebody. So I was trying to figure out who he was, but yeah, he's just a new character, man, and I don't know, I just didn't find him really that intriguing. So yeah, Cole pretty much boring. Raiden, I thought Raiden was a complete douchebag in this movie. I did not like Raiden at all, and to be honest with you, I feel like Raiden was pretty much useless. Besides him making this big electricity shield that happens later on in the movie, but other than that, Raiden was pretty much useless, man. I mean, or just doing portals to get people out of certain situations, but that's pretty much it. So there's that as well. Scorpion barely around. I mean, Scorpion, Hanzo Hashashi was started out pretty good in the opening scene, and that was pretty much it. He wasn't around to like the third arc of the movie. So there was that. I really thought they were gonna use him more and get a little bit of backstory from how he becomes the hell spawn. Scorpion. But looks like, they kind of skipped around it. Possibly a movie in the future telling a little bit backstory of how he became the Hellspawn and how he basically revived. So there was that. Sub Zero is the most badass character in this movie. Of course, this is the Bihan Sub Zero. So he was definitely one of my favorites as well. So top three characters is Kano, Sub Zero, and Scorpion when they actually used them. So pretty much, I feel like all the characters was underused as well, and we'll get to that. So pretty much in the first act, it opens up, and I feel like this is really really good to talk about because if you haven't seen the video, I mean, if you haven't seen the movie yet, in the trailer they show off. I mean, they have a opening 7 minutes. You guys could go watch. So there's that. But anyways, it starts off there in the Shiryu Garden. Hanzo Hasashi with his family. They're working on the in the garden as well, and then Hanzo's wife needed some more water, so she tells him, "Hey, I need some water so I could plant some of these flowers or whatever." So he goes to go get some water, and then that's when the attacks happen. Of course, the ninjas from the Lin Kuei attack the Shiryu, and pretty much kills everybody. So then there was Bihan, who basically was he was vicious in this movie, man. He was attacking everything, killing everything. I really liked the Bihan in this movie. So Bihan goes and faces off with Hanzo's wife and son, and basically just straight up murders them. He freezes them to death, and then so there was an interesting part that happens in this movie. So there was a little baby, a toddler, that was basically screaming the whole time, which is Hanzo's son, or we found out it was actually Hanzo's daughter. So there was a baby right there. So Bihan was there to basically wipe out the whole Shiryu clan. Interesting that they didn't actually mention why he was there to wipe out the clan. They just told you that he was there just to wipe out the clan. So possibly in a future movie we get a little bit more backstory with that as well, but they didn't really say. I know why he was there. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys as well. I mean, the video games or the comic books does a real good job of explaining why Bihan or Sub Zero just snaps. But anyways, so like there was a toddler there. Bihan was there basically to wipe out Hanzo's whole, like I said, his whole clan, but he was trying to wipe out his whole bloodline. Interesting enough, the toddler that was there, he actually keeps the toddler alive. And I was talking to one of my homies, Man Cave Collectibles, because he pointed out, because I totally forgot about that scene. And he pointed it out on Instagram when I was talking to him. So shout out to Man Cave. By the way, go follow him on YouTube. He does a real good job. And he has a bigger following than I do. So there's that. But anyways, so I was talking to him. He's like, whatever happened to the baby? And I was like, I don't know. They pretty much mentioned the toddler one time, and then that was pretty much it. They basically said, I will get to that a little bit later, why I say that. But anyways, so then there was a face-off between Hanzo. Hanzo realizes that his family was being attacked and eventually gets killed. So Hanzo and Bihan go face to face and they start fighting each other. It was one of the badass scenes in the movie as well, especially with the opening scene. So of course Bihan gets the better of him and pretty much kills him. So Lord Raiden appears towards the end of that battle scene and eventually takes the baby. And while Hanzo disappears with fire, I mean, basically, I don't know, his whole body just lit on fire and just disappeared off to another realm. So there's that as well. So then the next scene that happens is Cole Young. They introduce us to Cole Young. He's fighting. He's a mixed martial artist. He's fighting in the cage, and then that was basically his first encounter with Jax. So then he talks to Jax just a little bit, and then it showed a quick scene of Bihan appearing in front of Shang Tsung. So now we know that Shang Tsung was involved. That was our first appearance of Shang Tsung as well. And he basically tells, hey, we got to look for these champions, for this tournament that's happening. And we're going to kill all of Earthrealm's champions. So then Bihan pretty much agrees and goes on to go look for these Earthrealm champions and just murder them so they can win the tournament. So then Jax confronts Young and was talking to him in front of his family as well, and was telling him about the sign that he has on his his chest area that has the logo that he has since birth of the dragon, which is the Mortal Kombat signal. So there's that. And then out of nowhere, they're in this little like hut area, or not a hut, but they're in this restaurant or whatever, getting some food. And then out of nowhere, it just starts snowing. And then there was a badass scene of just Noob Saibot, or I should say Noob Saibot, Bihan coming and attacking them. So Bihan tries to kill them. Jax comes out of nowhere and saves them, and then pretty much tells because he came in a car, gives the keys to Ko Young, and they drive off, and pretty much tells Jax, he's like, come on, follow me, buddy, if you want to fight me. So he goes into this warehouse, and then there was that warehouse scene that happens in the trailer as well, where he goes and he saves Ko Young, and he tells Ko Young to meet up with a woman named Sonya Blade. So that's what he goes to go do, while Jax goes to go fight Bihan. I keep wanting to say Noob Saibot. He's not Noob Saibot. Bihan. So he goes to go fight. He is Noob Saibot, but not yet. But anyways, so he goes to go fight him, and pretty much just gets bodied by Bihan. I think it's one of the most badass scenes. Like I said, I wish that scene wasn't in the trailer because it'd have been more epic. If you know that he shoots the big gun because Jax doesn't have his arms yet. And he shoots the big gun, and then Bihan just freezes the gun and just pretty much looks at the bullets and just like, yeah, now I'm about to body you, and just starts going crazy, starts cutting him with his icicle blades, or his icicle, whatever you want to call them, and then freezes his arms, and you could you could actually like feel Jax's pain. You just see the icicles just, all this cold ice just going up his arms. He's like, you could feel that, man. And then he grabs his arm and just snaps it in half, and then just kicks him off the railing, and then and then he had a hard fall at the end of it. He just hits his head on the brick, and he was falling down in the warehouse, man. I thought it was pretty badass scene. Like I said, they made it a little bit better. And then there's that. So Cole eventually gets to safety as well, and then he officially meets up with Sonya. But before that, we've seen our first appearance of Melina. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I like this Melina. I think she's okay, but anyways, so she talks to Shang Tsung, and then Shang Tsung tells her to send the reptilian Sizoth. Now, I don't remember if this is the Sizoth the reptile that we know from the video games. It might be a different Sizoth. Different reptile, because we don't know how many reptiles they are. But I'm pretty sure it might be the reptile from the video game. I might be mistaken on that as well. But they send Reptile to go look for Cole and to bring him back. So then, while Sonya debriefing Cole in her little trailer that she has, we get introduced to Kano, the leader of the Black Dragon forces as well. So it's pretty interesting. And then there's where Kano gets involved, and then Kano starts making these funny jokes. Like I said, one of the best parts of this movie. And then while they're making all these jokes and all that, while pretty cool actually, when they were actually debriefing and Sonya was pointing to the wall. You also seen it in the trailer as well. There's like this huge wall, had a lot of Easter eggs on the wall as well. Like Shinnok was on this wall, as well as the other elder gods as well. So a lot of interesting Easter eggs on that wall. And then one of the craziest thing happens when Reptile starts to attack them, because Reptile was right there. They start hearing weird noises of what the hell is happening, and then Reptile just swoops down and just starts attacking them. But Reptile was using his camouflage ability as well. So then eventually, when they shoot Reptile, Reptile leaks some of his liquid or his ooze or whatever you want to call this. That's actually, it's like the Predator when you shoot the Predator, and his body, his blood is made of this fire acid liquid. So Kano, that was actually was basically arrested. He had cuffs on. Was able to get out and eventually fight Reptile, and then pulls out Reptile's heart. So that was basically one of the first fatalities we've seen in the show, in the movie as well. So there was that. So then Kano agreed to help Sonya Blade and the crew, basically, because Sonya offered him $3 million, and he pretty much takes it. So then it leads to them trying to find out where the temple of, because Sonya's was basically trying to find all this information, trying to find the Raiden temple. So then for some crazy reason, Kano know where it's at, so then Kano agrees to take them. So then they eventually take them. Then they get into a quick scuffle because Kano really doesn't like anybody. So then he gets on Sonya Blade's nerve and then starts fighting with Sonya, and then Sonya whoops his ass. So while all that's happening, they eventually run into Liu Kang. So that was the first time we met Liu Kang. Pretty interesting that we meet him pretty much, I don't know, later on in the movie. He wasn't one of the original guys to start with. And if you're a fan of MK, Liu Kang is should be the main focus point on any Mortal Kombat movie or video game as well. And he was not part of it in this movie. Like I said, I feel like the main character was a little bit of Cole Young, and I'm not sure if I like that. I really didn't like that. But anyways, so he eventually meets Liu Kang. They take him into the Raiden temple, and then basically show them around the temple as well. It's pretty funny too. Kano tries to steal the Shinnok amulet, which is actually pretty huge. I mean, just anybody could just walk up to the Shinnok amulet and just take it, and it's one of the most powerful amulets in Mortal Kombat. And just like, why is this just random powerful object just laying right there, and why is nobody protecting this amulet? How is there's like no protection over it? But anyways, it's funny too because Liu Kang sees he steals it and tells him to put it back. So then they eventually meet Raiden, and then pretty much the Raiden encounters with everybody. I feel like Raiden was a big D-bag in this movie. He was basically treating everybody like, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, holy crap, like, who is this Raiden guy? Like, this Raiden guy's a douchebag, and he's oh my god, he's an elder god? What in the world? And it's different from different Raidens that we've seen in the past from the other movies as well as the video games as well. Because Raiden tries to help everybody out. This one was a different take on Raiden, and I'm not sure if I liked it, that Raiden. But anyways, so then Bi-Han eventually finds the temple and starts to attack Liu Kang. So they're about to get into a shuffle, and then out of nowhere, Kung Lao comes out of nowhere, just throws his razor hat. It was a badass scene with him as well. So then while he's getting attacked, Shang Tsung and all of his source, all of his his enforcers show up basically, and they were about to get into a scuffle right there. They're about to get into a fight, and then Raiden shows up and reminding him to follow the tournament rules. Now, speaking of tournament rules, I don't think there was really that much in this movie. Actually, little at all. I don't feel like they respected the tournament rules because, and if you guys watch any of the movies, video games are a little bit different, but the movies, they're like, you can't fight. It has to be rude, a Mortal Kombat fight. The other fighter has to agree to fight you. But this one was like, oh, we're fighting regardless, man. Like, put your hands up. We're about to fight. But anyways, so that's pretty much what happens. We've seen that Jax, they found Jax, his arms are pretty much messed up, and then the monks that was in the temple was there to save him. So they eventually saved his arms, built some mechanical arms. So there's pretty much that. Then Kano get into some insults with Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Pretty funny insults until Kano start getting mad. So in the whole movie, they were trying to get the characters to understand their, they call it Arcana abilities. So it's basically how Liu Kang throws his fireball, and how Kung Lao has his Raider hat, Raiden has electricity. So it's basically their spells or whatever. So nobody could get theirs down until Kanan was able to do his laser shot out of his eyes. So then he gets his laser eyes. So that's pretty much it with that as well. So then Kano starts training with Cole Young because Cole Young had a hard time using his Arcana. Basically, Raiden gives Cole Young some D-bag comments. So Cole Young kind of gets a little bit mad and just basically returns home to his family. And that's when Melina, Nitara, Cabal, General Raikou shows up and starts talking to Shang Tsung, and then Shang Tsung basically put the bounty on their heads as well. So that was our first time seeing Nitara, Cabal, and General Raikou. I feel like General Raikou was the most useless character in this movie, but there was probably one more that was more useless than him, and we'll bring it up a little bit later. So then they actually teased Prince Goro coming out of the background, so there was pretty much that. Then Cabal tries to talk to Kano and was like, "Hey, you with these guys, but you were the leader of the Black Dragon forces. What happened to you? You're a mercenary. We could double the price of what they're offering you." So then Kano actually agrees to that because he is a merc. And remember when I was talking about in my other wish list videos, when I was talking about it, about the movie, I was like, there's no way Kano stays a good guy for the rest of this movie. And I was pretty much right. I just knew that there was no way they're going to keep Kano as a good guy. So there was that. So Kano ends up betraying them, and then that's when they all started ambushing everybody. So then, while Cole Young is talking to his family, they're trying to run away, get away from everything. Goro, they actually sent Goro at the Cole Young, and I thought that was pretty messed up. So then the fight begins, and then everybody's fighting, pretty badass scenes. But the fight scenes were kind of too, they weren't long out drawn fights. They were pretty much quick fights or whatever. And then one of the most messed up thing happens in the whole movie, which was the most badass scene in the whole movie, was when Nitara eventually shows up. She gets into a confrontation with Kung Lao because Kung Lao is getting ready to face Shang Tsung, and Shang Tsung's like, "You're not ready for me," and pretty much is true. So Kung Lao hears this weird screams in the background, so he's trying to figure out where it's coming from. Nitara comes, swoops down. He pretty much grabs Nitara. First of all, he throws his hat, which was a badass scene. He throws his hat. The hat, his hat is made out of razor blade, so it's spinning. He grabs Nitara, pushes her down on the ground, just pushes her head and slices her in half. I think it was pretty, like I said, it was pretty badass. Then he gets up and he says, "Flawless victory." I think that was pretty badass, man. But I feel like they they did Nitara bogus, man. They really did Nitara bogus. They didn't have to do her like that. She could have at least got one scratch off or one kick off or something. But she didn't get nothing off. They flawless victory. I thought I was messed up. But anyways, guys. So then while everything's happening, everybody's fighting, Cole Young is about to see his family get ripped in half by Goro because he could have handled Goro. He's getting his butt kicked by Goro, and pretty much Cole Young finally finds his Arcana because his wife's about to get basically massacred, and then some armor just pops up on him as well, and then it lights up every time you hit it as well. So it was like this fire armor or whatever. I don't know what it was, but it basically was enough to give him power. So then I guess he could just do it whenever he can. He could just make blades out of nowhere using that armor as well. So then he eventually gets into this fight with Goro and just basically slays Goro like Goro's nothing. And I'm not sure if I liked it that one, man. I feel like I was like, man, why would they kill Goro off so fast? I never really liked that. I feel like Goro had to fight a couple more people because it's Goro. He's literally the prince. You know, I mean, Goro, if you guys play any Mortal Kombat game, and I know I keep referring to the games, it's not the games, it's the movie. But anyways, Goro is supposed to be this big boss, you know, this guy who's even in the other movies, you know, he fought everybody, you know, he destroyed everybody. But they made him seem like okay, he was a one guy chump, you know, one guy goes over there, don't even know how to use his powers, who just magically just know how to use his powers and just slays them in one attack. So pretty much I didn't really like that as well. But whatever. But it was pretty badass to see. Then Jax out of nowhere just learns how to control his arms out of nowhere. So everybody just magically just learns how to control their arcanas. So there's pretty much that. So then, while all that happening, Shang Tsung finally gets into this fight with Kung Lao, and then he said, "Your soul is mine." And he grabs his soul, grabs him, and just rips his soul out of his body. So you can hear the weird screams, and it was pretty eerie as well. So then Liu King hears that he's trying to get to him, but then Cabal stopping him um, as well as Bihan, and eventually, you know, he kills Kung Lao, rips the soul out of him. They eventually retreat to the void because for some odd reason, Raiden decided he did not want to join this fight. Uh, even though you know his Earthworld champions are being destroyed, and technically it wasn't even tournament fights; it was just some random ambush fights. So I don't know why Raiden decided he did not want to fight. But anyways, so he gets they retreat to the void, and then they all make up plans to just ambush them instead of them getting ambushed. So they ambush them. So then Jax goes and fights Raikou, pretty much destroys General Raikou, which Raikou was I don't think Raikou was a good character to use in this movie. And pretty much I don't think they should have used him. Possibly should have stuck with Mataro or somebody, but he didn't really have a backstory as well. He didn't even say a word in this movie, so there was pretty much that. So Sonya gets in a fight with Kano as well. She pretty much bodies Kano. You know, there was a joke that he made of this little gnome talking, but he hates gnomes. And then there was a gnome because he was choking her, and she grabs the gnome and stabs her right in the laser eye. So that's pretty much gonna set up how he gets his plate eye or whatever. I mean, it kind of shown that he was kind of like if he was dead, I'm pretty sure he wasn't dead, even though his eyes did turn red and he did went into a stale state. Melina gets killed for sure because Sonya Blade, because during the thing she wasn't worthy of getting the logo as well, so she wasn't able to have an Arcana. But since she killed Kano and Kano had the Arcana symbol, she was able to get his and was able to get her powers, her little laser powers that shoots out of her arms. I mean, out of her hands. So she basically put a whole big hole into Melina. So I definitely could see in a future movie Melina and Kano getting upgrades as well. You know, Melina getting her full teeth out and Kano getting a new eye, basically. So there's that. And then there was Bihan. So Bihan, who knew that most of his lackeys were pretty much killed, he goes and captures Cole's family and pretty much traps Cole. And he goes, he grabs an accessory that I think was from the daughter, grabs, and he pretty much freezes it and be like, "Hey, I got your daughters, follow me." So he goes running after him. They try to stop him, but he goes to the portal, and then that's when the fight starts happening. Cole Young getting his butt whipped, and then out of nowhere, before Cole Young about to die, Hanzo goes and gets revived, and it comes out of nowhere. He yells, "Get over here!" and throws the chain, spikes him right in the shoulder pad, and then they start teaming up to fight Bihan. And it was a pretty badass scene as well. You know, both of them teaming up to fight Bihan. So they eventually take down Bihan, and then pretty much burns him alive. I really had loved to see because when he takes off face plate, whatever he has, takes it off, and then I would have loved to see the skull head. I think that would have been badass. But I mean, they kind of showed it just a little bit, but not all the way. But he burns him alive, and then everybody reunite, and then that's pretty much it. Then Shang Tsung, who was a little bit pissed off that his lackeys didn't get the job done, tells Raiden that he was gonna come back with not just one army but multiple, or not just a few people. He's coming back with a whole huge army, and then pretty much says in the movie, pretty much established that now nobody's really dead. He's like, okay, he's like, yeah, they might be not here on Earth realm, but they might be alive in a different realm. So pretty much, I could see them coming back anytime soon. So I was like, oh no, they established the fake death universe. No way. So there's pretty much that, and then the movie ends with Cole basically, in his old, MMA gym that he was training in. The guy's like, hey, he calls out to him, he's like, hey man, I got an extra fight for you if you want to take it. And then Cole's like, nah, I'm going to Hollywood. And then the guy's like, why are you going to Hollywood? Because there's a certain guy I need to talk to. He didn't really say it like that. I just made that up. But he did say that he is going to Hollywood to find a guy. And then they teased a Johnny Cage poster. So that was pretty badass as well. So that's pretty much the end of the movie. And overall, I think it was good. I mean, like I said, now I'm just going to talk about my likes and dislikes and pretty much end the video right there. So with my likes, I liked the fighting scenes. I think the fighting scenes was pretty good. I wish they were a little bit more drawn out. The fighting scenes were pretty cool, like all the animation. I mean, you kind of know what was a fatality, kind of said it. Was uh, uh, I think they had a few brutalities, but they didn't really say it. We had an animality. I should have mentioned. I don't know why I didn't put that down, but we seen Kabal pretty much get murdered by Liu Kang. He does the dragon that we seen in the trailer and pretty much murders Kabal with the animality. So there was pretty much that. So there was that. I think the overall designs, the looks of the character, I think they were pretty good. Some of them kind of generic, of course, like Liu Kang's gonna be generic. Raiden, uh, but everybody else is pretty much good. Jax as well. I think the arms look pretty good at the end of the movie as well. But everybody else is going to be generic. But overall, the looks look pretty good as well. Kano was the best part of this whole movie. I really liked the Kano as well. And like I said, so let's talk about dislike. So the story, I feel like the story kind of fell out. There's a lot of plot holes as well. Like some scenes, probably they should have mentioned, like the baby scene. They pretty much just straight up forgot about her. Yeah, and what I was talking about a little bit earlier was, so there was with the baby, with the toddler, they mentioned that she was Cole's ancestor, so that's how Cole was able to get some of his unique powers, his Arcana. And I was just wondering, I was like, why didn't Bihan? If Bihan was there to wipe out Hanzo, why didn't Bihan kill? Not wipe out Hanzo, wipe out his whole bloodline. So he kills the mother and or his wife, and he kills the son. Then there was a baby crying in the background. So if he was there to kill the whole bloodline, why didn't he just kill the baby, and then completely wipe out his whole bloodline? Didn't make any sense, but he decides to let the baby live, and then the baby ends up being, I guess, Cole Young's ancestors, and we still didn't know who the baby was. So the baby was pretty much irrelevant to the story. So don't know why they made it a big focal point to show off the baby in the beginning, but that was pretty much it. I guess this was to set up Cole Young's backstory, but I don't know, man. Didn't really like it. I feel like there was too much fake deaths. Because like I said, man, we know some of these characters are gonna return. So didn't really like that as well. Raiden was a big. I didn't really like Raiden as much, so there was that as well. Cole Young was pretty much boring. I mean, I really don't think they should use him anymore. I mean, his character, I don't know. I just didn't really like Cole Young as much. I really, because I feel like adding a new character right now doesn't make sense. People want to see it for the classic characters, not for newer characters like him. And his, his backstory is not that intriguing. I mean, I'd rather have a seen Scorpion Hanzo himself and then tell the story of how he comes back and revives, rather than seeing this whole backstory on Cole Young. But that's just me as well. I feel like they did Nitara dirty. And General Raikou was a big like they did him bogus, man. I really don't like how they did General Raikou. He was basically useless in this whole movie as well. And then the characters being underused was my biggest one. I was like, man, a little bit could have been a little bit drawn out. We could have learned a little bit more backstory. A lot of fighting scenes, but which is cool. That's what people want to see more combat movies for. But like I said, man, I feel like it could have been a little bit drawn out more, and they were kind of a little bit too fast. But that's pretty much it. That's all. That's all my thoughts about it. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. Whether you guys liked it, you guys disliked it. What were your favorite scenes in the movie? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you guys please hit that like button and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And I greatly appreciate all you guys. You guys have a wonderful, amazing day, and see you guys later.